Good morning and welcome to the show. I have a winter visitor here in the form of Dr. Paul Kinsinger, and he's going to give us some health tips on what vacationers need to know down here. Dr. Kinsinger, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me on such short notice.
Yeah, it really was kind of a weird thing, wasn't it, the way it worked out?
Well, yes, because I'm only down here this week. My in-laws have a place on the Panama City beach, and so we come down here from Illinois.
Yeah, and I know you got a phone call on a golf course, and you talked to my wife, who's a producer, and here you are.
That was kind of spontaneous.
Yeah.
The other golfers I didn't know, and they go, "You're talking to a TV station here?" And I go, "Well, yes, I am."
It's always fun, right?
Yeah.
It's always fun. You never know what you're going to get when you go to Panama City Beach.
It's fun here. The weather's great.
So vacation brings you here,
Yes.
right? But I noticed, you travel with your stuff.
Well, I mean, I can do interviews because I sell a product here in Panama City, and so it's just to have people learn about it, because 10 to 20% of Panama City has toenail fungus, and the product actually takes care of that problem.
10 to 20% of us in Panama City have toenail fungus. Now that's something we probably need to look out for if you're living on the beach. You're going around barefoot, right?
You stop wearing sandals. You stop trying to wear styling sandals.
If you have fungus.
Yes.
Yeah.
You try to cover it up, but everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And so you want it to get rid of it safely and easily.
So you've created this product? Are you either patent holder on this? Or?
I'm a family doctor in a little town in Illinois, and I didn't like the existing options. I mean, people have tried lasers that are very expensive. The medication is liver toxic, and I developed a product that's safe and easy to use, and it's over the counter. So you don't have to go to your doctor or podiatrist. I'm a family doctor, and so I knew about penetrating gels. And
so what have been the results with this thing?
you know, what I've found is that 3 out of 4 people, they were very, very satisfied with it. I don't like that it doesn't work every time.
Right.
But I've got enough testimonies from Puerto Rico to Hawaii. I've been selling it for 4 years.
Where there's a lot of bare feet
Well, yes.
and beaches and open toe shoes.
Well, you
and
try to
sandals.
cover it up. We used to have a
Yeah.
commercial that actually had the people trying to put their feet underneath the sand because they were trying to hide it, because it's embarrassing. I mean, when you have it, people point it out and say, well, why don't you do something about that? Well, people have tried a lot of over-the-counter products, and they haven't been very successful until this product came along.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got to run off to the local weather. But on the other side of these messages, I want to learn more about your invention and toenail fungus.
Great.
Good morning. If you're drinking your coffee, you may not want to stick around for this next segment, because we're going to be talking about toenail fungus.
Okay. All right.
But Dr. Paul Kinsinger will be right back after your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm. westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Paul Kinsinger, who's here on vacation, and he's going to tell us a little bit about your foot health. Now, we've got a particularly obnoxious photo here of some yellow toenails. What's going on with this guy's feet, besides him needing a mani-pedi?
One of the things that you look at from a toenail fungus point of view is that you think that your toenails are formica. When you look at your nails, they look like, but they actually turn out to be semi-permeable. And what happens is you kick the couch, or someone steps on you when you're playing basketball. Even with good running shoes, you get micro trauma on the inside of your shoes, and then you have these fungal spores jump in because it's dark and moist. It's why.
So they get a little opportunity, they find an opening, and they set
really
up house.
do. And then we think that it occurs like 10 to 20% of people over 50. It's probably an immune-related problem. It's an opportunistic infection. So it's all these people that have this, and they live with it for so long. And so I developed this product that actually, it has acetic acid, vinegar, and thiamol, the active in Listerine. And I was a hospice physician, so I knew penetrating gels. And I actually figured out that you don't put it actually on the fungus. You actually put it down here at the cuticle nail junction, put a Band-Aid on it, and it actually takes care of the problem 3 out of 4 times.
Now, what are some of the other problems we can have with our feet?
Well, one of the things that I have here is this thing called Morton's neuroma. And Morton's neuroma, it sounds like a tumor, but it actually turns out to be
not a tumor.
Sorry. It's an inflammation of this nerve, and it's between your metatarsal heads. And so the nerves go right here between your metatarsal heads, and it gets squeezed. And women wear styling shoes.
Can we get a shot of these metatarsal heads here? Here we go. Now point to it, Doc. Where is it
Well,
now?
it's right here. It's usually between these two web spaces right here.
Okay.
And women wear styling shoes. It squeezes those metatarsal heads, and then the nerve gets squeezed, and then it feels like you're walking on a marble. And so what we end up doing for this, which is a little painful, is we end up injecting
That's the
that
bottom of the foot we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
We end up injecting that with a little steroid to take care of the pain, so you don't feel like you're walking on a marble anymore. And then I do have this space, and people know about plantar fasciitis. And plantar fasciitis is this tendon right here that goes from the calcaneus, your heel bone right here, and it goes to this proximal, near aspect of these
Again, that's the bottom of the foot we're looking
Bottom
at.
of the foot. And so the reason why people get it is because we don't stretch out enough of our Achilles tendon. This is our Achilles tendon, and it's like a pulley. It just pulls, and actually when people talk about heel spurs, they actually grow right down this plantar fascia. That's where a heel spur actually grows. You can't stretch your toes to stretch this tendon. You have to really stretch out. I actually was playing with my tennis with my sister-in-law yesterday. She schooled me, and I didn't stretch my...
And you ran enough to admit it here on the show.
I know. But I didn't stretch out my Achilles tendon. I actually have a little problem with that right now.
All right, so if we have a little problem with toe fungus, we can get this piggy paste at some local stores, right?
It's at Walgreens right now. It was at a couple independent pharmacies, but it's a safe way. I mean, pharmacists have never recommended this, podiatrists have never recommended over-the-counter products, and physicians. We have never recommended over-the-counter products, but in my area, I've sold to 7% of the population in central Illinois, where I'm from. I mean, it's in 15,000 stores across the United States. It's a safe, easy way. I mean, I even have pediatricians in my area using it for ballerinas because they get the way that they do their exercise.
Yeah.
They get.
Well, women's feet go through a lot more than men's feet because of all the shoes and things that they have to wear.
They get squeezed in that dark toe shoe box. It's why moss is on the north side of a tree. It's dark and moist in there.
Yeah.
And so that's why fungus occurs. Only about 1% to 2% of us have fingernail fungus. Because it's ambient air and it's daylight, and so we don't usually get fingernail fungus.
So it's always the feet that are dark
It's normally the feet, and it's annoying, it's frustrating. Piggypaste.com has much more information about this product.
All right, Doc, we're so out of time, it's not funny, but thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you, Don.
And make sure to visit piggypaste.com to find out about how you can cure your foot fungus if you got something like that going on. And we'll be right back after your Max Biz tip from Zenobia.
Hi, good morning, and welcome back. I'm Zenobia Andrews, your business system strategist, and I am excited to be here in the Max Out Studios bringing you your Max Biz tip for today. Listen, all week long we've been talking about 5 must-have tools for small business owners. 5 must-have tools. Now, today's topic is one of my most favorite topics of them all, and that topic is Hootsuite. Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a social media management system. A social media management system. You know, for me, I have a LinkedIn page, Google+, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, right? And then I'm trying to update, all of these different sites with my marketing campaigns, with my launching my programs, with my products, all of my services. And it takes a lot of time out of my day, a lot of time out of your day to manage all of these different social media sites. I'm here to share with you that Hootsuite is your solution. They're basically a free employee. I look at Hootsuite as a free employee, right? Because what it allows you to do, it allows you to stagger all of your events, all of your programs, all of your products, your services, your marketing campaigns, stagger them by date and time. That is the beauty of Hootsuite. Listen, I'm Zenobia Andrews, your business system strategist, and I am here to support you. You can find me at www.zenoviaandrews.com. Continue to press towards the max.
Welcome back to the show. I have Pamela Elliott in studio from Elliott Vocal Studios to give you your vocal tip of the week. Pamela, what are we talking about this week?
Well, we are going to talk about breath and the right kind of singing breath.
Okay, that has nothing to do with Listerine or mouthwash or anything. We're talking about breath capacity, right?
Yes.
Not the actual.
Not bad breath.
Thank goodness.
There's a myth. It's funny. When we get our singer's breath, especially when you're a new singer, we tend to go, and we try to get it all up in here, and it's really kind of funny. We're just like, oh my gosh, it's the wrong kind of breath. And the teacher goes, no, we want to get belly breath. We want to breathe from our diaphragm, or Or you hear this terminology. Well, we do want to get belly breath. Now, our diaphragm works for us really well, and we don't have to think about that as much. It's just, we want to just get that big belly breath. You know, that's where we breathe anyway. So when we're just relaxed and I'm talking to you, I'm getting my breath in the right place already.
Belly breath.
Belly breath, that's right. And so the thing is just not to overthink it. So because when we overthink, then we raise our shoulders, and guess what? We don't have any support bump up to the air that we have way up here in our chest, because that's not a whole lot of air anyway. When we get belly breath, us girls have, well, let me back up just a little bit and talk about support just for a second. Girls or women get our support from our lower ab muscles. Men get their support from their middle abs.
When it comes to singing or
When it
speaking.
comes to singing and speaking, yes. So we want to make sure we get big belly breath so that our support system is bumped up to our air, so it truly does act as a support system.
So how do you do that?
Just belly breathe. And do lots of crunches.
Okay.
No, just kidding. That doesn't hurt, actually,
Yeah.
to exercise and work out those muscles and work your core of your body out. I mean, it is important to stay fit when you sing, because you'll be a better singer. It makes sense. So anyway, we're going to do a little exercise.
Oh boy.
That yeah, come on, Don's going to do this exercise, you guys.
I'm still recovering from the bubble.
I thought you did quite well on the bubble.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. This exercise is called the hook. It's pretty much a classical exercise. It probably just goes across all genres and all kinds of music and all methods of teaching. And we use the HOO sound to expel a little bit of air. We try to reserve our air because we want to have good breath control too. We don't want to just let all our air out at one time. So we really work on the breath and holding it out and seeing how long we can do it. And at the end, we're going to just put a K on the end and let our tummy pop out. So we're just going to get a nice big belly breath. And listen, your voice is going to go in and out on this, most likely. It always does. And that's okay. We're working on breath. We're not working on voice. The voice is just an extra thing we're putting in there, okay?
Okay.
So how it goes is like this. We're going to get big air. And this best to time yourself. So you start on the 12 or the 6 or the whatever.
See, my first impulse is to take a big breath. I'm going back to the bubble. And you're doing that a long time. And it goes on, and it goes. It sounds like you could go on for even longer.
I stopped because I want you to do it.
Okay.
And I want you to make sure you think of your belly. Don't think of the manly chest here.
Okay.
Think of our belly and just
Okay.
really fill up. And then just HOO sound.
Ooh, that was your vocal tip of the week, brought to you by Pamela Elliott from Elliott Vocal Studios. And we'll see you next week with another vocal tip. Welcome back to the show, and thanks for sticking with us after that foot fungus segment. But we're here with Peggy Kundo, who is a speech therapist at HealthPlex. And I know her pretty well because she has been my son's speech therapist for a number of years now. Now, last time, first of all, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on. Last time we talked about, my son has autism and how important that is. But speech and being able to speak properly is important for typical kids too, not just handicapped kids, right?
Very much so. Research has shown that children as young as 3 years old will avoid interacting with other children with speech and language impairment. So
Isn't that odd?
It really is.
So something as little as like a stutter or a lisp or something like that can separate you from the pack.
Exactly. So that's one of the benefits of early speech and language therapy, rather than saying, well, let's wait and see. No, let's not wait and see. Let's go ahead, evaluate the child, look at the strengths and weaknesses, and let's get their language as age appropriate as we can.
And how soon should you be looking at that? As their first words, they're still learning. But when they get to around 3 years old, is that when they start to have exhibit these
Really,
kind of
we
speech
have a lot of
difficulties, or-
children that are 2 years old that we
Really?
work with. First words should come in around 12 months. Your mama, daddy, so forth. But when a child turns 2, we expect them to start putting together 2-word utterances, 2-word phrases. Big car, go home, see mama. So we've worked with children 21 months actually to build up those speech and language sounds.
Wow. So when they start mispronouncing stuff, is that when you start worrying, or?
Mispronouncing things, not talking as much as other children. Even in play, typical children will make the cow moo, they'll make the dog bark. When they're playing with cars and trucks, they'll zoom, beep, beep. But children with speech and language impairment will typically play silently. And so if your child is playing silently, not making sounds,
So even the
talking-
child knows, I
Right.
guess, on some level, that something's not quite right, so they'd rather not use their words than embarrass themselves. And at a very young age, too. How sad is that? Now, before we make a lot of young mothers nervous, what would be more normal? I mean, do you outgrow some things? Are there things that you would outgrow?
Well, there are some things that a mom could say, oh, well, my child's not doing this or this. And we'll say, don't worry, Mom, they don't need to at this age. That's okay. If they're still not doing this at 3 years old, that's a problem. If they're still not doing this at 5 years old, that's a problem. But we'd rather, if a parent or a physician have concerns, then let's evaluate, and if the child is age appropriate, we would much rather say, Mom and Dad, your child's doing fine, here's some things you can do at home, but he's really or she's really okay, rather than miss a child with impairment and delay therapy.
Yeah, because time is the enemy, I suppose.
Yes,
because
it
those
is.
bad habits really, have time to take root. We have to run off to a break right now. But on the other side of that, I want to talk to you about maybe some of the telltale signs that your child may be having difficulty.
Okay.
You're watching Waking Up with Don, and I'm speaking with Peggy Kundo, speech therapist, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm speaking with Peggy Kundo, who is a speech pathologist at Health South. Did I say that? Or HealthPlex, rather. I always mix that up. And we were talking about some of the developmental milestones in speech that your children should typically, meet. And are there things that kids mispronounce that you should not be alarmed with? I mean, I don't want to make people nervous and say, oh, little Timmy's, mixing up his TH and his S. There's something wrong. I mean, is that normal?
That is absolutely normal. S. In fact, we say the S, L's, and the R's. The R, substituting a W, the wabbit. Absolutely normal. It's a typical developmental stage. If the child's saying a wabbit at 4, no big deal. If they're saying it at 6, okay, we need to look at that.
And if you're saying it at 40, you're probably dealing with Elmer Fudd. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I shouldn't make light of this. So that's really typical. An R for a W for a little kid for 3, 4 years old is nothing really to worry about.
TH for an S, the lisp, again, at 4, that's not a problem.
But at a later age, say 6, 7?
At 6, that's a problem.
That is a problem. And what are some of the milestones we should be looking for?
When a child is 1, we expect them to start mama, dada, no, hot.
I used to get a lot of that around the house. No. Yeah. Yeah.
When they turn 2, we expect them to start putting 2 words together. Again, mama home, see daddy, go car.
Yeah.
At 3, we expect them to start putting 3 words together. So think about each year of age up until about 4, they need to have that many words in their sentence by
that's
the
good to
end
know.
of that year.
So by 1 year old, you should be saying 1 word, 2 2-word sentences, 3 3 words, and 4,
Right.
and so on. Now, after 4, what should we be looking for?
After 4, we look at what concepts they can understand and use. Do they understand size, the biggest, the smallest? Do they understand their colors? Do they understand and use spatial concepts? Put the bear behind you, in front of you, beside you.
Oh, yes, that's true.
What we consider the academic concepts.
Yeah, like before, after, all that
Right.
stuff. Wow. So any success stories?
Absolutely. We love to see children who really progress, are having difficulty with their sounds, and then during therapy their mother says, "Oh, I really appreciate your work, but I just need to be quiet for 5 minutes."
See, it's your fault he's so chatty. Peggy Kundo, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for all the work you do with our kids.
My pleasure.
You've been watching Waking Up with Don, and I'll see you next time.